whether you have a few years to retire or not, we want to reach everyone. And therefore, I am happy. Yesterday, you remained throughout the 2 sessions. Today, again, is an opportunity for us to interact with you in a number of areas. We are going to pick on the experiences we have of our retirees, people who have retired, and in those public officers who are doing something. But before I preempt all that, I want to take this opportunity to invite our permanent secretary, who was engaged yesterday, to officially open our 2 days training meant for all public officers, regardless of their length of service in government. Madam PS, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Our distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It is my great honor to preside over the official opening of the 3rd virtual pre-retirement training organized by the Ministry of Public Service. This initiative underscores our commitment to ensuring a smooth and informed transition of our public officers from active service into a fulfilling retirement. The importance of preparing for life after retirement cannot be overstated. In accordance to Section LA of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders 2021, government is mandated to prepare its employees for retirement. Today's training is thus a testament of our dedication to uphold this mandate and to provide you with the necessary skills, knowledge, and attitude to navigate the post-retirement landscape effectively. This training has drawn participants from ministries, departments, agencies, and local governments. The selected training content is part of the broader content of the pre-retirement training curriculum and addresses key aspects of planning for retirement. This virtual training has been programmed to last for a few hours to facilitate assimilation of the content, which are demystifying retirement. This is often because the thought of retirement is met with apprehension and uncertainty. This segment is designed to dispel the myths surrounding retirement and to provide you with a clearer perspective on how to embrace this new chapter of life with confidence and enthusiasm. Secondly, the exit policy of the public service and management of retirement benefits. We all need to understand the laws, policies, and procedures governing retirement benefits because this is crucial. This segment aims to provide public officers with the eligibility criteria, the benefit structures, and how they are determined, including the procedures for accessing retirement benefits in the public service. Then we'll move to the savings and investment options for a public officer. Financial security being a cornerstone of a comfortable retirement, we will be offering valuable insights into goal setting, personal saving, expenditure management, investment options, and strategies for management of borrowed funds. Further on, a guest presentation on investment in cash and near cash instruments, such as money market funds, certificates of deposits, treasury bills and bonds, unit trusts, etc., will be given. Knowledge of this form of investment is useful to public officers who have no time for trade and other businesses, and are normally faced with a very steep learning curve when they enter into business without having this knowledge. Then we go into estate management and will writing. Proper estate planning and having a well-written will is an essential component of ensuring that your assets are managed according to your wish and that your loved ones are taken care of after your passing on, which inevitably happens. Dear participants, it should be noted that planning for retirement is even more important today than it has ever been. Retirees are much healthier, much more active, and can expect to live much longer. A whole new phase of life and opportunities opening up in retirement. This means that it is extremely important to understand the opportunity that retirement presents for us personally and to remove any concerns we may have in order to help us decide when we want to retire or partially retire. We also note the fact that most retirees find themselves unprepared physically, psychologically, financially, and socially, thereby affecting their transition to retirement. We have seen instances of where people keep coming back to their former place of work, even when they have no deployment or even appointment. Recent research and statistics show that retired persons also shoulder several communities, family, and personal responsibilities, thereby rendering state-sponsored retirement benefits inadequate. I urge you participants to listen attentively and actively participate in all the sessions. Take full advantage of the wealth of knowledge that will be shared by our facilitators. Do not hesitate to ask questions or seek clarification on any issue that is not clear. Your proactive participation will greatly enhance your understanding and application of the topics discussed. I'm confident that this training will be highly beneficial to you because it will equip you with the necessary skills, knowledge, and change of attitude for effective retirement planning and preparation of retirees for retirement. By implementing the insights gained during the training, you'll be able to prepare yourself and the retirees to enjoy a prosperous and fulfilling retirement. I wish you all a fruitful training experience and successful retirement planning. Let us all commit ourselves to make the most of this opportunity for a better and more secure future. Thank you for attending, and I pray that you'll have productive and enlightening sessions for the rest of the program. I now take this singular honor to officially open yesterday and today's virtual training. I say this for God and my country. All the best.
Thank you so much, Madam Permanent Secretary. For those of you who are able to send flowers, you can drop those flowers for these wonderful, insightful opening remarks from the Permanent Secretary. I'm happy the numbers are building up, and colleagues, we, as a rule, first of all, as a rule for virtual engagements, number one, we must maintain time, and that's why we started on time. Number two, we have also structured the program in such a way that we don't take all your time. And even when we are going to make presentations, we will, as much as possible, try to keep the time allocated to us. Having said that, we will be going to our first session for today. And this session is about savings and investment options for retirement planning. And I will be taking you through this session. And then we'll have another session on the management of estate according to the laws of Uganda. Without wasting any of your time, allow me to go through my slides. Yesterday, you had a very important insights into why is it important to appreciate the key aspects of retirement as an inevitable phase in our lives. Inevitable in the sense that when you read the book of Ecclesiastes, it tells you there is time for everything under the sun. You got an employment. Some of you are lucky and they will serve up to age 60 or beyond. Others, unfortunately, do not serve up to the point of retirement because you also saw the modes of retirement. Then we also had a discussion on what happens to you when you get an employment with government and you are lucky to have retired under pensionable or gratuitable circumstances. And those circumstances were also mentioned to you. We did not take you through the reforms because also with the current scheme, we have challenges. I think the next phase of our virtual engagement will now take you through about the change in the rules governing the public service pension scheme. And I want to encourage you, when we invite you, please join us in those virtual engagements, mainly to give you awareness about how your employment terms will change with the introduction of a contributory public service pension scheme. So as a way of introduction, and this was also talked about yesterday, retirement is an inevitable process that takes place in life. Just because I've told you these are important phases in our life, that you are born, you go to school, you study, and a lot of things happen. And just like you have joined the public service, you could leave the service at the retirement age, or even after the retirement age, you could still get an opportunity to work for government, but you may not reach the retirement age. And so these are processes that we may not entirely be in charge of. Although the option of deciding to leave early is what you can decide. And therefore, we are saying this process is predictable, especially if it is not abruptly interrupted by other uncertainties of life like death and dismissal and so on, or retirement in public interest. Now, we are saying, although this is fairly predictable, you clearly can calculate and you know when you are expected to leave. That is if you don't intend to apply for early retirement. In most cases, it surprises so many people. And that's why you see daily we get requests to change dates of birth and so on. It means we are not mentally, we are not emotionally, we are not physically, we are not morally, we are not financially prepared. And but from our experience, those who actually decided that they want to leave the public service willingly are living fulfilling life because they planned for it and they are now living a happy life in retirement. And from our study again, we found in mid-40s, the certainties of life begin to show up. You try to look at your past, you see how much time you have spent, you look at 20 years remaining, and you begin to panic and say, well, I think I'm not able to succeed. Today, we will also tell you that you can still succeed at whatever age. We'll give you evidence of people who began to make meaning out of their lives after they have actually left the government service, after they have left formal employment, because they were earning a salary which was not fulfilling their needs. But when they retired with ambition, with a clear plan, they realized they had wasted their time working for salary. And that is the concept we want to build, that how can we encourage public officers to commit to something different in addition to the employment income, so that the option of retiring is embraced with a lot of confidence and with ease. So we don't want to wait for fate, that the system puts you out, or age forces you out when you are not prepared. Because we have seen the quality of life people who prepared have, and we admire them. But for this to be effective, you have to plan financially and emotionally. And how do we prepare that? It means in this retirement planning, you focus on what is that which you are good at, that you can do, and which you have passion for. And when you determine that, there is nothing under the sun for a living person, regardless of your condition, whether you have disability of whatever form, that human being who has a desire and a will cannot do. You have had stories of people without limbs who have made life possible and who are much better and living a happy life in that condition because they actually plan and they know what to do. And that is what we want to do. So this is only possible if you have a plan, how big it may be, and you dedicate your time, energy, and resource to fulfilling that plan. So that is one. Number two is, what are my current sources of income? How enriching are they? Can they take me to my destination, which is my goal? And once you are good with that, the next thing, and which you will also appreciate from people who have tried in life and have made some successes, are managing personal expenses, including imposed expenses, expenses from others that are transferred to you. No plan will succeed, regardless of the amount of income and resources you have, without having absolute control on your expenses. Expenses is an area where you have total control. The rest, you have no control, your income and so on, because they may be certain. Especially now, you are in employment, you have been described what type of salary you are entitled to get. You can go on strike, you can do whatever you can, but really, it's known. It means the decision whether your salary should now be better or not may not be yours. What is yours is how you manage what you do with your money. The last and the most important thing is, what do you do with the money? When you control expenditure, you have some cash. The most important, and there are so many of us who have cash. Some are in the house, some in a safe, some in a bank. Life is not about what you have now. Life is about what are you going to do with what you have now, so that what you have now is used to plan for tomorrow, which you are not sure of. You may be okay now, but you are not aware of tomorrow. So the question is, with what you have, the opportunities, it may not be money, but you have contacts, you have connections, you have capacity, you have skills. What are you doing with your skill now, so that tomorrow becomes a better tomorrow? So identifying and committing to an investment plan, and in this context, I'm talking of a sustainable investment plan, is what you need, because that is what will help you when the dry season starts. So what are we going to do with our rainy days? Now, there are much more issues to consider in retirement planning other than finances, and we'll talk about some of them. There are people who retire with the money, but they are not happy. They are isolated. They are psychologically in trouble because they have not found something meaningful to do. So one of the biggest retirement problem is, when I retire, what should I do? What can I do with my time? The 8-8-8-hour principle becomes different. You have 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for sleeping. Serious people make effective use of the other 16 hours, which are regarded idle time, and they have made something out of that. So at this point, when we are still working, we must start allocating finances to our retirement planning goals. The aim is so that when we retire, we still continue with the steady income flow, so that you convert yourself to what we call financial independence, while managing the other non-financial retirement planning issues. What does this therefore require? It requires you to go and sit alone without any other person, because you know yourself better, and you take an inventory of yourself. How are you standing with your family? The family is what you need every time. Workmates are not friends. Workmates are colleagues. There is an agenda your employer has given to you. So you need the workmates to achieve those objectives, those goals. But they may be friends, but they are not very strong friends. Family is everything. How many of you are connected to your family members? How many of you actually visit your children in school when there is a visitation? How many of your children actually know you are the one paying school fees? So if they don't know yet you are the one paying, why will they not honor you when you are old? How is your health? How much time do you spend to go to the hospital to check your health status. Personally, every 3 months, every quarterly, I go to a facility, a government facility, because there I know I will get qualified people. And they check my health condition. It helps me to take decision about my life much earlier. Then the friends. Many people who have connected with friends who were in a primary, not these ones you found at work, not these ones you found at the university. Of course, there are some who are good. They connect with them. So when they retire, they have the money, but they have the group who listens to them, who understand them, who fall in their bracket, and who are able to meaningfully engage them. Not those who engage with you because you facilitate them. How are you standing with your partner? If I asked you to text a message to your partner and say, darling, sweetheart, I love you, will you receive a positive response? Or they may think you are running mad. Because that was the last time you said it was 20 years ago when you were in a relationship. When you brought this person in your house. Or you have been with the person for this time. These things come accidentally. When you want to borrow money. When you have a child outside and you want to bring inside. Do you have a good relationship? Because that is a person who will be with you all through your life. Do you have dreams even when you are 80? These are issues I want you to sit down and assess personally, and this will help you to take a decision about your life. And this is our life. I just want you to appreciate this graph. The lifeline. Now, when we are young, we are in deficit. We are not into any productive means. It could be the time in school. We are in a deficit. But when you read the Constitution, there are obligations that guardians or parents have to fulfill. Take you to school, clothe you, house you, and many things. So this period, somebody is obligated to take care of you. So you are in shortfall. You are not producing anything. You are not making, you may support with the family chores and so on, but that's not very meaningful. Unfortunately, for some of you, this period of deficit has continued up to age 40. You are in the 40s, but you are dependent. You have not joined what the president called the money economy. Using your faculty to generate income. Of course, there are some of you who have been in school very long enough. You want to study anything, diploma, bachelor's degree, then you go for master's, you want to do PhD. You are still not producing anything. You are relying on others. But for others, they started saving when they were in school. So they have reached a point where they sustainably start generating income. So fortunately, we have a longer period during which we have an opportunity to make money. Like I said, for some, it started at 18, others 30, and so on. But even when you go on the streets, you ask randomly, everybody has at least some small money in their pocket. So this is a longer period, and it's our advantage now. This is the moment we are talking about. This is the moment we have now. We have a job. There are other things we are doing. What are we going to do? What are we doing with this moment? So that we don't enter this last part where we go back into deficit. So today our focus is on this longer period we have. An opportunity given by God, given by our faculty to make money, to generate some form of income. What are we going to do with this period? So that we don't graduate into shortfall again. Because I want to tell you now, yesterday, Albert did inform you, nobody is taking responsibility now for this shortfall. There are many people in our communities who have been neglected. Their houses are not there. Even the community spirit has been lost. You have educated children, but your children are struggling as well. So this shortfall at old age, when you need money for medicine, for other things, and probably you may be alone. Your children are elsewhere, managing their own life as well. is the most painful. How do we mitigate this? How do we make sure we don't graduate? So our objective here is, if you are going to live longer, you plan long term so that we don't experience this sort of what you have saved when you are not able to produce, you can get sustained and you can still leave something when finally God confirms that you have done your part. So that is our interest. So who pays? Our answer here is you must pay for that deficit. Nobody is taking care. We have elderly people above 80 who currently are supported by government with 25,000. Do you want to graduate and become a candidate of 25,000? That is the thing today we want to discuss. So that therefore brings us to, when you sit where you are now, how far can you see? How far can you see can be in form of different things. Number one, do you have enough time? Number two, have you started doing something? When you answer that, the next question is, can you see clearly? What you are doing now, can it take you up to age 80 or 90? Is it fulfilling to you? Are you able to remain committed? Are you not going to be idle? Do you have something you are going to start doing? Because I told you it's not about money alone. Money is important, yes, but you must still have the social attachment to the community, to your family, to society. Is that clear? How many of you regularly support your family members and the community? These are questions we need to talk about. And you can deal with the retirement question when you answer these, again, three issues. Number one, what are my current obstacles? I have heard the people say, I'm sure some of you are going to text in the chat box, or even ask, how can I save with little money? What we are telling you is that your money is a little, yes, but we are simply talking about a moment where the little money is also not there. We are actually telling you, yes, we acknowledge you have a little salary, but we are simply telling you, yes, there will be a moment where even the little salary will not be there. Are you going to give up? Or there is something you are going to do? So therefore, our first question is, ask yourself, what are my current problems? There can be many, and your personal problems are your problems, but list them. Be honest. There are people who are lucky they were able to produce children when they were young. But even when they are 50, they are still producing children. You are self-inflicting pain on yourself because you think you are now okay. Your situation now can change tomorrow. Some of you are the only breadwinner in your house. So you cannot be proud that your moment is okay. That moment can last tomorrow. There are people who have amassed the asset, cash in the bank, property here and there, schools and so on. But they are the vision bearers. The day they leave, the people who are going to remain in charge do not sell your vision. They will sell those property and graduate to where life was without you. So identify your obstacles. Some of you are in charge of the entire community, dependents in your house. They have to use a big saucepan to cook food in your house. That is already a problem. Some of you are about to retire, you have not told your family members, including the people who are depending on you, that your time is almost over. Some of you have siblings, you are not having meetings with them. For you are careful not to produce more children. For them, they know you are there and they're producing more. That is already a problem. Are you having regular engagement with them? Some of you spend money. There is no idle money. I mean, if I give you 10,000 now, that is now your money. You don't say this I was not expecting. That is your income. What do you do with that money now? Identify all these problems. If you drink like fish, can you start scaling that down? Can you start with 2 bottles? Do you have challenges in your family? Are the family not united? All these are obstacles that you are going to definitely encounter when life faces you. So when you are honest and you list all, then you go to the next. But you cannot go to the next without number 1. Number 2, therefore, is, are there decisions I can take today? Very easy. There are decisions which require tomorrow. For example, reducing the dependence and so on, the 3 maids at your home and so on, Samba boy and so on. Your children are in school, but you have 5 people who are managing your home. You have unnecessary property which can generate for you money. They are idle in your house. When you go to your house, you look around your house, you see things which you have not used in the last 1 year. You are still keeping them. Some of you still have Abdul TV. You have 3 TVs in your house, others in the boxes. So these are life decisions that you must take today. So they are decisions, including bridging relationship with your partner. You can do it today. You can even start by telling your partner you have arrived at work safely. And then at lunchtime, you can ask whether he has eaten. Oh, he has eaten. You start that relationship. You can abruptly visit your children for the first time in school. You make a resolution now. But the others you do later, including trying to start saving. That can be 10 today, because I want you to start saving with 1,000, if that is your level. And you will see the advantage when you do it consistently. Then you leverage on your strength and advantage. Once you document all your strengths and advantages, you are now on a course, because we want you to use your strength to overcome all these challenges. You have relationship. You can call the areas by government hospital and they do the checkup today. That is already a strength. You are employed, you have employment income. But you used to exhaust all the money in 15 days. So that is already an income. What are you going to do? These are the things we need to start documenting. And some of the issues which even yesterday came up are the following. I'm not going to go through it. But I want to encourage you. People now live longer. So when you plan long term. We also have the problem of what we call the middle income dilemma. You and me who have been serving in government, some of you at a very high level, when you graduate into poverty, it is very painful. Why? Because right now, some of you do not even know fuel price. You just give a card and say full tank. These are a group of people who feel a sense of entitlement. When this opportunity is lost, and this opportunity, I want to tell you, this opportunity is simply because of employment. It is not because you are so powerful. It is because a paper that you have been employed. The person who gives you a paper can take this paper. So when you carry yourself high, driving those V8 of government and so on, and once these things are gone, you become bitter with everybody, including your former employer, because you wanted to remain on contract and they don't. So we have seen rich people who graduate into poverty and they don't accept that they are now in poverty. The village people are very resilient. They are village people who eat a complete diet because they go from one home to the other, eating what they want. So those ones are already resilient. When you go to the village, they start laughing at you that you are a very big person in Kampala, but you were doing nothing. Because for them, they know how to cope in the village. For you cannot. So that is the dilemma of that is the dilemma of the poor, who eventually become future poor people. And my encouragement and why I brought this is, I don't want any of my participants today to graduate into that class of the former rich, because the environment out there is very complex. The real Uganda is out there. The real Uganda is the Uganda without salary and pension. And for those of you who go to communities regularly, you definitely should be appreciating this. Friends, just give me 1 minute. I have a case in, my brother's son who has been brutally murdered by people today at night in Ilera, and the CID has gone to, the police has gone to apprehend those who did it. It was, they cut all his veins on the hands, on the legs. They chopped his head, knifed him severally, and he died in the hospital. And the police is following up. Just give me 1 minute, the police is calling me.
Yes, members, participants, as we wait for our commissioner, is going through some sad moment, but let's be thinking about the middle class dilemma. He has mentioned about how far you can see. It's time now. Can you see clearly? Let's be thinking about that. He urged the participants to start saving now. The excuse of a little salary, he says, can't apply. That is 1,000. I think all of us from after this session, we shall start saving with 1,000. I like that. Then you also mentioned about Lifeline. The Lifeline, as you can see, let's avoid living in a shortfall even after our retirement.
Okay, colleagues, I'm back.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, sorry for that small interruption. At least some suspects have been arrested, and so we are going to follow the matter maybe after this training. I was talking about the middle income dilemma, and my prayer here is that those of us who are beneficiaries of this training, let us not graduate into that level, because it is the most painful. Society, you feel society has neglected you, and many things, and most times you even fail to cope in society. So we want to do something today. And therefore we are saying, let us have dreams. Let us start this dream now. And this dream can be in terms of, regardless of your age now, there is always something to do. This dream is also only possible if you have a plan. Retirees have a lot of time. And therefore, for once, I want to also talk to those who always want to remain on contract. Why will you serve your government or another employer, not your own self, for 40 years, and you want to leave and go home when you are not capable of managing your affairs? Why don't you go home when you are capable? When you are useful to yourself? Because all these dreams you want to do, will you be capable? Will you be flexible enough to do it in old age? So let us think about these things much, much earlier. Otherwise, I want to tell you, even now, personally for me, I commit for resting. Out of 24 hours, I want to tell you, I commit 6 to less hours. The rest of the hours I've made them, I make them useful. The opportunity is ours to use. And I've done that without endangering my relations with my community, with my family, with everybody who is important in my life. So you can balance life. I have already talked about the expenses. Some of you have reached some age, 50 or plus. Your children are not with you at home. They have also left your home, but you are still in a 6-bedroom apartment. Doing what? This house here is in a town, in Naguru, in Kampala metropolitan area. Why don't you go to Wakiso and leave this money, this facility for money? Some of you want to travel to retire with those fuel gasolers. Transport is transport. There is no benefit from status unless you're a celebrity. And your income is through the fans who follow you. You can live a comfortable life. You can live not so cheap life, but a very reasonable life with a little. But these are personal choices. Then the society's problem. The time I married my wife, there was no meeting. Not even my siblings contributed money. I made sure I married when I was ready to marry. And I married after getting a job. I only informed my relatives and friends about my intention to marry. I didn't need the money from them. And they accompanied me and we fulfilled their traditional obligations. And they gave me the wife. But the friends said, no, we can't just do this. They made some small, but without meetings. So when they contributed, I say, enjoy. The military money you have contributed, you create a leader. Buy what you want, let us enjoy together. But right now, everything about life is contribution. Marriage, birthday, death, whatever situation, Kwanjula, what, bride price, everybody is contributing. These are society's dynamics. You can't run away from them. But why don't you set a limit? Set a limit. Your salary is 200,000. Why don't you set a limit? If your limit for social support is 50,000 in a month, why don't you set that limit? And you stop there. People know you have been contributing. So when you don't contribute, they will understand. When you exhaust these events occur, you rather send an apology and say, you are not capable, you are very sorry. But to commit beyond your capacity, just because you want to show to society that you are a responsible citizen, money does not lie. You either don't have or you have it. So it is your problem. Self-inflicted problem. There are people who even borrow money to donate. These are the realities of our time. Some of you have nursery children who are in international school. Unless you don't understand why children go to a nursery school. They learn socialization, they learn some bit of numeracy, and so on. Would you need an international school to do that? I have told you your status is okay now, but this is short term. This is status which was given by a letter. You can lose it tomorrow. This income you are getting, which is not part of your salary, is unsustainable. In the primary, I want to assure you, I have not sent my children to this so-called very powerful school. They have been in the best top 100 schools in Uganda. And they have done well without spending those so much money because I know my limit. So what are we doing about this? A number of decisions that we are taking about life that we really ought to do better. The health issue, I've talked about them. Physical exercise is important, but exercise with a limit. You organize these aerobics, they tell everybody universally make 20 press-ups. You don't have to make 20 press-ups to remain fit. Just do your 5, which is your capacity, and stop there. They introduce another subject, you do the capacity. Those who have more capacity, the young ones and so on, they can do more. It is your choice in life. But checking whether you are doing well is very important. Then the mental health. We go through a lot of pain just because we have tried to be lonely. We have tried to be in charge of too many problems, which we can scale down by trying to normalize how we deal with our situations. Then the food. I see people who can buy food, load in their plates, just because it is free food at a wedding, or a funeral, or there is a workshop, a buffet. All the things God created. When you read your Bible, God says they were good. He blessed them. Nothing that goes inside is a problem. The problem is how you moderate what you take. So do you have choice in life? Do you decide, or you eat what is available? Because the opportunity has come. And a number of other lifestyle issues, drinking, smoking, many other things, which we can easily fix. So these are personal choices. And in your problem that I told you to list, I expect you to list this because it must get an answer. You can't continue with that. Then I talked about being involved, leisure activities. Sometimes we organize small activities for workmates and so on. Sometimes we see other leisure activities. Sometimes these aerobics are socialize, attend social event, but without constraining what you can do. Then the new identity. The moment you are obsessed by titles, you retire, you want to be called a so-and-so. It affects your settlement at the retirement. We must graduate away from this. When you find me outside the office environment, those of you know me, you see a different person altogether. Where I stay in Kampala here, very few people know I actually work in government. They only knew it when I lost to somebody, and there were a number of big people who went there. I try to live my life like a citizen. Title does not take you anywhere. But at the workplace, they are important. It is not important in your village. It is not important in your family. You are not a commissioner in that home of yours. You are a husband or a wife in that home. Play the role of that. Don't take your authority of office to that home. That home has a new identity. Identify something which you can do and do it. Because I've told you, you will retire with the money, but you are going to be lonely and you will die faster because of too much sleeping. You are going to sleep for 10 hours a day. It will kill you faster. So what are the opportunities we have now? We are all employed. Majority of us, I'm sure, who have logged in. You have employment income. Salaries. Some of you have allowances. A number of you have capacity. You have consultancies. Then yesterday, my team talked to you about pension and gratuity. Even if you do nothing, government will at least pay you something. But he gave you the formula. With your little salary, if you are not a scientist, what can you do with that small pension? It is a fraction of your salary. Is that what you want to move home with? The lowest person is getting now 5,000 every month. Can that person say he has employment, retirement income? This is the question I want to ask. Now, apart from the employment income, we want to encourage people into other form of income when you are still working. The circle. Many institutions have institutional circle, but you force people to be there. Yes, saving is the first thing, but the outcome is big. Then you can do your private savings. You have cash in bank. I want to encourage you. For me, I've set my alarm. When I see money, a message, I immediately go and pick that money because I know money that is not idle is useful. So I don't have idle money. I pick that money and when I deploy, it gives me some small money, extra money. So what are you doing with the cash in the bank? 3-6 months, the bank is still keeping your money. They only deduct those transaction fee. You are just happy that money is in the bank. Then there are some of you are in a revolving fund, group of 10, 5. Money is like moves from one person to another. It's good, but if you are not doing anything meaningful, why do you enter such a group? You only enter that group because you want some lump sum cash. In any case, you wanted advance from salary, but you have now an opportunity of friends who can give you 2 million. That 2 million is only useful if you are waiting for your time to go and do something. And eventually, what is going to revolve is not your salary. Where you have put the 2 million is what we want you to revolve. The next payment should come from where you have put the money. Otherwise, it is useless to belong to this group. Just to keep money, then the next group, you are using the same resource to move around. Support from friends, social groups, and so on. I have seen people contributing 100 million for wedding. Wow. Eaten in one day. What a waste. Money that can solve your retirement problem is eaten in a day. What a loss. Why don't you agree with these organizers? You organize a modesty function. You support this family to settle. Then the others are, some of you, as we talk now, you have inheritance, family property, land, physical structure, and other things, money, and so on, and you are in charge. Well, it has become your money through the succession law, but you have not done anything for this money. Do you want to waste this idle money, or you are going to do something? Are you going to look for more money to grow this family asset? Some of you are settling on your father's land, which he acquired 30 years ago. You have not added any land, and you have worked for 30, 20 years. What a shame that is. But my focus more is on the private enterprise, the sustainable investment. What business are you doing? What investment goal have you pursued, short-term or long-term? Do you have vacant land which you are renting out? It's in town. Maybe you have let it out. You don't have capacity to develop, but people are washing from there. You're earning royalty from that place. What are you doing? I know there are some of you are into small businesses, like myself. I have my small salon. The most important thing, colleagues, just another 1 minute. Let me talk to the OC. I'm sorry for all these interruptions. I'm sorry, colleagues, I'm back. At least there is some good progress the other side, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So I was talking about all these things: employment, income, investment club. You are mobilizing capital. For what purpose? What I want to call sustainable investment. As we think about retiring, we should now move away from these cash-related business ventures to generating income that we can put to long-term investment or investment goals. We'll look at some of them. I know some of you are doing small businesses. You are rearing poultry. You are keeping those chicken. You have piggery. This is not what we are talking. That is for mobilizing capital. When you get that money from poultry, which can that business can collapse in a month. Yes, it's okay. That business can collapse in a month. When you mobilize resources from those businesses, what are you doing with the income? Are you transferring the income to something that can sustain you? Those are the kind of questions we want you to answer eventually. That takes us to what we must do. Managing expenditure, lifestyle audit, which will help you do change in your lifestyle, managing your health, managing your cash and investment in cash and near cash assets. And then for those of you get lump sum, I know there are a number of you might be getting lump sum from NSSF and so on. You don't need that lump sum. Even those of you getting money from the public service pension scheme in form of a lump sum gratuity, you don't have capacity. You have been into employment all your life. You don't know trade. A number of our people who put their money into that lump sum into business or whatever they may want to call, the money is lost in 3 years or less. We want you to use that cash and purchase some form of regular income. We call it annuities. Insurance service providers give that option. And investment managers also guide you on how this money, which is a cash lump sum, can be converted to a periodic income that you can use eventually when you retire. So you need that money to purchase that form of annuity, because the problem is you have money now, but the fear is tomorrow. You are not sure of tomorrow. What do we do? So each time you are now looking at your cash, fear tomorrow, because that cash may not be there tomorrow. And therefore, my prayer to you is, can we focus on sustainable investment? And some of the examples I will be able to give you. So, and I've talked about personal saving. This can start with as small as 1,000. And if you are consistent, you could commit this daily, like our people in the village do. In 10 years, you can see the value of that money. But when you see this money is becoming a force, you can graduate it to 10,000, depending on, or occasionally when you get this, you have a workshop, they have taken care of your lunch, you convert that money and you send. The aim here is how to start. If you have started something, it is always easy to add. If you have not started, all the money you get becomes small to start. You will fear to start because, but what can this one do? But I want to tell you, our market vendors in Nakasero market, in Kalore market here, in our markets, in our various towns in Uganda here, are saving from that small money. They have children in school, they eat food, and people are surviving. We can also do that. After all, we have some form of income. I have already talked about how you can use your current property, including the idle asset in your home, to acquire more money, including your big house, by moving to a smaller house so that you generate more income. Colleagues, whatever you can use to generate more income, do it, because you have the opportunity now. Those opportunities may not be there in the future. So For those of you who have money, where are the options? One is real estates. Real estates can be in form of purchasing land, but it can also be in form of, if you get money, building a house. Where I am now resident, that time I went to a Chalo, a plot was sold at 17,500. I acquired two, but I paid one. One was on credit, which I paid after 6 months. That is the beauty with the land. You always have window of paying on credit. And there are people in our communities who even can give you land when you have 1 million. In some of our communities, I went to a certain community, I was called land, an acre of land was 500,000. Which public officer cannot acquire that property? But to come back to this land, I bought this land, but I had no money to build my own home, so I was renting. But I had an opportunity to go on secondment to South Sudan under IGAD arrangement. And they were paying us dollars, I was also earning salary. So that is when I built my home here in Kampala and in the village using that money. And I was able to finish paying this land for this other plot, which I got on credit. Initial agreement, 6 months. But the man found I was loyal. I paid after 1 year. When I came back after 2 years, I started disturbance from people who, now the place developed. They started coming to me to buy the land. And one person was insisting on giving me 40 million, 17.5, 40 million in 2 years. But I was not ready to sell until I got information from Boyale. There is a title of the land. Each acre was 2.5. And I used my small money, which I was not having, to negotiate that now I need 20 acres. But I will give him 40, which I was not having. When the man accepted, I said, I will pay you after 2 years. He accepted. I came and sold this land for 40 million. I took the whole chunk of money there. The value of that land has now appreciated. So land is a force. Now, house real estate is also good, but unfortunately, we also make mistakes when we are building house for rent. When you are building house for rent, you aim at the target group. You are targeting young people who have just got jobs, they have no salary, they have reasonable income. And you want to put an apartment and charge 1 million. A person who can pay a rent of 1 million will not stay long in your house. He can also build a house. So reasonable, low-cost housing units is what will give you money. First of all, you will not spend too much to construct. Number two, it will always be occupied. Number three, you will recover your money faster. But you who wants a status and you want to build a huge apartment where you are targeting expatriates who occupy it and you are in Wakiso, my brother, I want to tell you, first of all, in 10 years, if you do your mathematics well, you add the land value, you earn the construction cost, in 10 years, you will not recover that money. That is the biggest mistake we are making. But there is money there. So land is important, provided it's not a wetland and it is not owned by another person. You are buying from a genuine owner. And our colleagues, your workmates, you just call Minister of Lands or the zonal offices, they will confirm that this title is correct. Full stop. Then some of you had the money, you have seen your bought shares in Umeme, in Where, and so on, which is good. It means when you have challenge, you can still transfer this share. You can sell this share to another person. And then there are investments in what we call private equities. Private equities, those who operate these are companies that are either listed in the stock security exchanges and others who are not listed. The advantage with this is that these people trade for you when you are not working. They invest your money, they bring returns. But if you invest in companies that are not listed in the security, they are not listed, there is the risk of also loss of money. That is a factor you must consider. Then a number of you, everybody, you ask whoever, who and so, they tell you, for me, I'm now into agriculture. My brothers, I want to tell you and sisters, Agriculture is only good when you operate in a very large scale and you are doing value addition. I've tried it severally. Some of them I do it because I want to maintain my land. You put your maize on 20 acres, you get a loss of 3 million. Some of you are doing piggery. I have tried that. Unless you have a capacity of over 100 pigs. When you get those piglets, you sell them. The money cannot even buy feed for 1 month. Unless you're able to sell mature pigs every week, it's not an income. But there are some of you who are doing large-scale poultry and so on. That is good. You can still do that, but it's not an area. Now, people have gone into commercial farming, coffee production, and so on, and it is a reliable form of agriculture, provided you are not on a small scale. Otherwise, the extensive nature of the labor will require that you also pay much and you may not really achieve value. The beauty with this, it gives you money in perpetuity. There are people who have gone into sugarcane production. They plant this sugarcane, you can harvest for 7 years. They get money, the others who get even billions. But it needs a large chunk of land and it needs presence. So these are options that are available, but you can explore them. But the others who actually do urban farming, you don't need a lot of land, like I did one in Kampala. The other plot which I told you I sold, I was doing greenhouse. Every week, my wife was making 1.5 from the greenhouse. I had tomatoes, green pepper, yellow pepper, and we trade with big hotels and supermarkets. Unfortunately, I did not study the business very well. I left it open and it has been vandalized, but it gives you money. So low scale, high value. Some of you are doing onions. 1 acre, you get value from it than the 20 acres we have. So when you venture there, study the business very well, get expert advice. The other opportunities, now investing in money. Government treasury bills and bonds. Friends, you have no time for trade. You have no opportunity to go around, run, because your job is demanding and you have some cash. This is the opportunity. Soon, Bank of Uganda will announce to the public that they want to borrow from you. Now, if you have money, which you want to commit to long term, you go and buy treasury, you buy a bond, long term. Now, the yields, I will show you shortly the yields from these government treasury bills and bonds. Government borrows from you for whatever development needs government has. Then they give you money at a very high interest rate. I will show you. Even now, when you go online, you say current day yield for government treasury bills and bonds. It is updated real time. It will tell you the last 6 months, how it is, the last 12 months. But if you commit this money to long term, 10, 15 years, government can give you, on top of your money, they can give you 15%, up to 15% on your money. And this money, every 6 months, the coupon is redeemed to your account. So you can deal with your bank, your commercial bank. Or if you have large chunks of money, you can deal directly with the bank. And you are able to put your money there. You ignore this money, you look for more money, and you instead want to add more money there. And it makes for you money. But you can do a short one. So the periodic coupon is what comes to your account. So there are people you see, right now you are working. There are people who are in the gym. They are not working because their money is making money. Every 6 months, government is sending money to their account and they are using that money. They don't have to work. And they are not about to tamper with their money. This is money which is in near cash. And where you are into trouble, you can actually get that money. So, colleagues, I have given you one clue. The other clue, so that is the update I got by 2025 January. But if you do now, you get real time. You can see that is the yield. The latest is where you see the other color. The latest performance. Then 1 month ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, you see how government is able to pay to give you back your money. And the longer you commit this money, you can go be up to 16 million, 16% on these values. So I want to encourage you, colleagues, this is a sure way of investing the idle money you have in the bank. Remember, I told you, for me, I don't have cash there. When I receive SMS, I go and pick, because I know where to put this money, provided I have fulfilled the other obligations of school fees and so on. They are small businesses, but they are very, very rewarding. The other thing I had mentioned earlier is what we call unit trust. There are so many licensed fund managers by the Capital Markets Authority. You put your money with them. For you are working, they run around and invest this money in the money markets. For them, they can give you, they declare how much you have earned every month. There are others who even declare what you have earned daily. And you can, if you want the money back, they just need a notice of 1 day. The money will revert to your bank account. And they are doing their good work. Right now, their average is about 11.5%. That is the return they can give. But that is good money. Which business can give you that money now in Uganda? You start a business now, 3 people have replicated the same business. So these are the sure ways, especially for you who have no time. You can put money and buy the unit trust products. For example, if you have 50 million on account, every month, these people are able to give you about 500 if you have 50 million with them. Assuming you garner this money, you don't use the money, you leave the money with them, and you have kept this money there for the time you are left with in the service. And even after retirement, you leave it there. And in the future, when you are retired, you have 100 million or 1 billion with them. You don't now need trade. Money is making money for you. So these are the other small businesses. I told you, for me, I have one, number 1 saloon. And now I have 2. I started in a small way, and I get money. I want you not to ignore these small things. You look at D, chicken roasting. There is a person who daily roasts over 70 chicken. Weekend from Friday, 150. He's on Mitiana Road here. Now, he buys a chicken, used to buy chicken the time I interacted with him, he used to buy a chicken at 9,000, pays the ones roasting at 500. The rent he pays is 1,000 per day for a bulb, which he picks from the person who has the shop, and sells every roasted chicken at 22,000. You do your mathematics. Even if you do 50 chicken, you offset the expenditure. How much money does this person have? He's better than you who is struggling to work here in government. This tractor, I picked this from the gentleman who plowed my land. Every day he can plow 20 acres. He charges 1 million per acre. You can see the income he has. 15 to 20 million a month. Who can get this salary? A few people in agencies. But this tractor, 85 million you can get this tractor in Kampala. How long will it take for you to recover your money from this tractor? This gentleman was operating somebody's tractor. Now he has 5 tractors. Go and talk to him about working for somebody. He will insult you. He's making a lot of money. This is a washing bay I just picked here in Kampala. The person washes 50 cars per day. But I did my calculation. Administrator, can you mute the other person? This person has rented a space. The other space I told you about, that you have a vacant land, you are not renting it out. You are only writing there, this property is not for sale. Instead of buying a jet car wash and you put there, this jet machine is 1.5 million. The guy washes, I have just done 20 cars. He charges 10,000. He pays the workers 500 shillings. He recycles the water. After washing the water, the thing goes down to a tank. The same water is used. He earns 200 per day. That is just a minor, because he tells me what is 50, but I just say let's do 50. People are making money in Uganda. The several cars, this jam you are seeing here, people want to wash. At night, he changes the place to a washing bay. People have bought cars when they have nowhere to park. So they park in his place, he charges them 3,000 to park here. And he pays the askari from that money. So what is my take home from you, colleagues? I want you to go and sit down. First alone, before you start involving your partner and then family members. Do an audit of your life. How much are you wasting in your house? How much are you wasting as a person? Are you in the right job? These are the things I want you to. You can decide to leave the job. Are you enjoying your job? You are working for 20 years. You have not done anything. Are you in a good employment? You are accumulating assets. What is your health status? Do that assessment. Then analyze what is taking your course. You can quickly sit and say, what takes my money in a month? Can I moderate them? Can I ignore them? Then, regardless of your title, colleagues, I want you to be humble. Practice honesty. Even when you go into trade, honesty is why you are going to retain customers. You cannot cheat customers. They give you more money, return their money. Financial frugality. It means a bit of being mean with your resources, but making sure money is valued in your life and you manage it prudentially. And in whatever you do, including your job, build trust. If I give you a consultancy, will you do quality work? Otherwise, I will not come back to you. Some of you are highly knowledgeable, but you have no market value. People don't know what you have. Save from every income. Identify something you can do and start today, however small it is. Whether your income per month is 10,000, you already have an income. Manage your health and diet. Diversify your investment. Don't put all the money in one environment, because all business are volatile. Don't ignore your family. Don't ignore your community. Don't ignore where you stay. Even if they are not your tribe's mate. You are in Kampala, the relations between you and your neighbors is a wall fence. Let us know what is happening. Your neighbors are your protectors. They know what to do. Let us change, and this change has to start today with us. When we see you have changed, your family members can as well change. I thank you so much. Moderator, I want to end here.
Commissioner, for that presentation. Participants, we can put our hands together and thank Commissioner for that first presentation. Like I earlier mentioned, we shall only have a plenary after the two presentations. So you put your question down or what you want to be clarified, and after the second presentation, that's when we shall answer the questions. I now take the honor, Commissioner, to invite you to make the next presentation so that we answer the questions at once. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, moderator, and colleagues, thank you. At the beginning, the PS told you we have a curriculum. We also have a full session of several hours on management of personal health, management of diet, and many others, including how to use borrowed money and so on, and many others, how to start business. All those are part of our curriculum, but for today, we just picked 4. For this segment, we picked 4 contents, and we worked with a team of experts to develop this curriculum. We worked with the Administrator General's office to develop a content on estate administration. We have also updated this paper after the amendment of the Succession Act. And so we are now talking law. This law is about realities of life. That as we live now, life is uncertain. Like I told you about this young man who was now going to the bus so that he can go back to Moyo to join his family. And he was killed on the way by some thugs just today. So death is a part of our life. We're a human being that lives. Right from creation, we got that confirmation that we are prone to, we are temporary. Now, so estate administration is meant to guide you, especially after committing your life to serve and accumulate property for years. You certainly has an interest, dead or alive. And here with the estate administration, the aim is how do we take care of, how do we make sure you guide how your estate will be managed when you are not around. There are a lot of fears, but there is no relations between writing a will and dying. There are people who fear when you write a will, maybe you are going to die and so on. These things are unrelated. But when you write a will, it means you care so much about the hard work you have done and you want your estate properly managed when you are not there. So that is the reason you should be concerned about how your estate is managed. Otherwise, whether you write a will or not, definitely you will die and your estate will be managed. And I will tell you the challenges of managing your estate when you are not able to, when you have no will. And you will be able to see. My prayer after this is that we are going to take a decision to begin to organize our estate and document it. So to start with, we have concepts and terms, terminologies, and these are in the law. Now, testacy means a person dies after leaving behind a valid will. I brought the word valid because I will tell you how a will cannot be valid. The opposite of that is intestate. That you die without leaving behind a will. It means the state will now take charge and guide using the laws available on how your estate should be managed. Now, what is a will? A will is defined by three things. Even if you don't read the definition we have put, three things define a will. Number one, it must be written. Number two, it must be witnessed. Number three, it must be signed. And this details how, in your opinion, your properties will be managed where you are not there. And when you write a will, in that will, there is a format which I will take you through, where you appoint an executor. An executor may not be a beneficiary. An executor who is the person who will manage your estate after your death. Then, when you die and you leave behind a will, the will does not automatically qualify you to go and manage the estate. The advantage of a will is you have shortened the procedure of getting authority to manage the property. But you must still go to court and you get what you call a letter of probate. A letter of probate allows you as an executor now to manage the estate of the deceased person. But if you have no will, it means there is a procedure which I will show you that you have to go through, and you plead. After a no objection from the Administrator General, you go to court, and whatever instrument you get is called a letter of administration. Now, once you get that, it means legally you are now allowed to also administer the estate in a trust. Then there is also in the law what we call codicial. This is an amendment. So when you write a will, but you make some modification, it is called a codicial. It means a modification or an amendment to a will. So it is considered part of a will. Now, also in the law, I brought this because most of these definitions are coming up because of not having a will. When you have a will, most of these are not so much an issue. Then there is the issue of a legal child. This has been redefined in the amendment to meet any natural child, both inside and outside marriage. They now get recognized. Then we have dependent relatives. In the Succession Act, dependent relative has been defined to include almost everybody who associates with you, like your wife or husband, a son or daughter under 18 years of age, a son or daughter. These are important definitions because when we are coming to distribution of property, when you have no will, you will see how these people come in. These are children 18 years of age who either partially or wholly depend on the deceased, who depended on the deceased. The brothers, the sisters, grandparents, grandchildren, who wholly or partially depend on the deceased. This is very easy to prove. A person can say, I've been depending on him. You have sent a mobile money twice to somebody, can say so and so was the one supporting me. Very easy. Then we have the customary heir or heiress. Heiress has just been included in the amended law. Initially, it used to be customary heir. So it has now been amended to make it more gender responsive. That a person recognized under your rights of customs as a person. If you have a real will, you can appoint your heiress or heir. But if you don't have, the customs will determine who is your heir or heiress. Then the legal heir. In case you don't have a heir or heiress, a person who is nearer in your degree of relations can claim to be the legal heir. And you can see there are some distribution which will go to. Like I said, all these definitions apply because you have no will. A guardian is a person who is in custody of minor children. Minor, you have seen the age 18 below. So if a person is in custody, they become the guardian. Now, we have problems in managing the public service pension scheme. We have guardians who took responsibility. They got letters of administration. When the children grew up, by the time they grew up, they found the money has been eaten by this so-called guardian. That time the law was not very strict. Now the current law is very strict. They eat all the money. The children come and say, we have grown, we want to change. Then you say, you file a petition. And then when you file a petition, the petition is heard, and then that's right. But at the end, some are lucky, they still have some monthly pension, but the gratuity has been eaten. Then we have the principal residential holding. This is important because it means the residential holding which the spouse were occupying. And so this is not a subject of distribution. Even when you write a will, we will look at it. And then separation, this is a very important concept when property distribution is being determined. And when in your will, you also trying to disinherit or inherit, or you are saying, I have not allocated any property to a person X. There is the concept of separation. That means separation for a period of at least 6 months consecutively. This can be either by agreement, where both parties, you and your partner, you agree to suspend the marriage in writing, and at least a person has witnessed this. So you are regarded to have separated. This is important because somebody can come and say, no, you didn't will a property to me. I'm the wife or I'm the husband. Now husbands also come into picture because in the amendment, women are now under obligation to also will property to their husbands when they are distributed. Then you can also separate by judicial order, where one party has petitioned the court and the court has said in the interest of the marriage, you should separate. That is, separation is also recognized. Now, spouse has also been redefined to mean a husband or a husband married in accordance with the laws of Uganda or laws of another country which is recognizable by Uganda's law as a marriage under the laws of Uganda. These are important when we are dealing with issues of estate. Now, so when we talk of testacy, I told you testacy is where you write and you leave behind a will. Now, under this law, There is no formula. The law allows you to distribute your property in whatever proportion to any person of your choice, even a friend. So friends, when you are writing your will, you may consider also giving me some property. You have freedom to give your property to anybody, including charity and so on. What can you put in your will? Property that is yours. Property that can become yours in the future, like your pension and gratuity. You can put in a will. But you don't know the amount, so you can even say, I am distributing proportion, percentages. Property which you are jointly owned, provided you have a non-share of that part of your property in that joint venture. You can also include that in the will, but to the extent of how much stake you have in the business. Who can be willed a property? A living person, children, spouse, friend, dependent, church, what? Government, non-profit organization, and so on. You have seen people in UK, I don't know, they will even property to their dogs, to charity and so on, because their families abandon them. They find the housekeeper is the one keeping them. So there are young people who go there, they become domestic servants, they are all of a sudden become property owners because the law allows you. So you can give to anybody. What constitutes an invalid or void will? If you write a will, it can be void. For whatever reason. One, coercion. You are threatened to sign your will or to write a will. The moment that is proven, this will is regarded invalid. Fraud. People who manipulate, use deception, and cause you to write a will. That fraud will is invalidated. If the will is not witnessed by at least 2 people, it is also regarded invalid. Insanity. If the person is mentally unsound, you see, there are people who write a will and bring to an insane person and use the fingerprint. These are easy because many times people say, but this man writes, this man is educated. Why a fingerprint? Then they realize, no, there is a fishy matter. And then they probe into it and then they eventually realize. Grave illness. There are family members, when their person who is rich is in the hospital, even those who were rebels, they begin to attend to this client who is in the hospital. Every day they are there. They say, oh, you see, daddy, don't leave us. And so, just because they want to facilitate, they want you to change your will, to change your mind, to make you believe that they are now changed people. And there are others who even force you now to commit, to say something about what you are leaving behind. And once this is also proven, that will is invalid. There are even drunkards, people who are intoxicated in order to sign their will. All those once proven, they make the will invalid. Mistake of fact or by such importunity. If there are some grave omission, this will be invalidated. So you make sure when you are writing a will, as much as possible, you exercise a lot of accuracy, and you will see also how your will can be challenged in courts of law by those who are living. We'll look at that. So now will writing, do you need a lawyer? No. Minister of Justice has given us a simplified guide, which does not require a lawyer. You just need to sit in your corner and recollect and write. So there is no standard format, but they have, for ease of administration, they have given us some guide. Number 1, you just write heading. This is, you say, Testament of Bua Victor Leku, or Will of Bua Victor Leku. And then you open the statement, say, this is my last will. Any other will existing before this will is invalid. As simple as that. You are finished. You have already introduced your will. Every time you are writing, you are even amending a will. Because you fear you have a will as leaked. You write another one and say, this is my last will. Any other will before this is invalid. And that is all. And then you say, I am so and so, I am married to so and so, I have the following children, I have the following dependents, you can state your family members and so on and so on. Then you also list the property. Cars, non-cars, land, other asset, our pension, our gratuity, you list all of them. And when you finish that, you can even describe, if you know the value, you can describe their value. Land totaling 50 acres. This and that, house in the location X, a residential home X, you list all this property. And once you have finished describing this property, you start distributing. You can distribute in whole or proportion. Like I've said, you don't put the residential home in the will. It becomes a family home where you stay. You are advised to make sure every person who associates with you is part of the will. But there is a section which is comprehensive disinheritance. You can say, although the following people, apart from my immediate family, I have not given them property, give sound reasons. If not, they will challenge your will in courts of law, and it will be set aside, and you will be regarded to have died intestate. And state law will be used to distribute your property. So you give sound reasons. For example, you can say, my partner abandoned me on my sick bed for 1 year. So I am not distributing a property. Valid reason. Has not even visited me in the hospital. My child, firstborn, stole my land title and sold 40 acres of land. He has already enjoyed his share. I am not giving him anything. Clear reasons should be given. Otherwise, these are the people, they're already rebels, they will sue you, they will take the will to court. Then when we finish that, you say, I appoint so and as my executor of the will. And then you make a final declaration, you sign, you put a date, and it is witnessed by 2 people. So colleagues, you can see, will writing is very easy. There are only 2 problems. The 2 problem is, who are the 2 witnesses? That is the first problem. We have had people who have become, who have been very close to the family. Yeah, so I was talking to you about the 2 problems. One is, who should be a witness? We have found church leaders, some people put church leaders, some put colleagues, some put lawyers. But we have also seen some people who have manipulated this. They have taken advantage, connived. Even the others who have facilitated the death of others. After seeing the comprehensive list of property, they connive with the other family members. And but there are few cases and kill this person for purpose of now having a say on the property. So it's a sensitive area. The other area is where to keep the will. You are keeping the will with such a person that the person does not disclose, and this person also does not divulge information. But when you die, this person also is aware. Because in our African context, the person dies today, they want to sell all the property immediately. So how can we keep this will with somebody who will know when we finally die? I have heard some people who even say, when I die, you must look for so and so. He has supported me when we were working together. It is a clue that the will might be with somebody. Some people leave this will with the church leaders who are honest. Because when you die, definitely they will invite the church leaders to pray for you. Some give this will, and even witnesses, they use the HR office, human resource office. Because when a person dies, the employer will be involved. So it is a choice. But definitely in life, you must have people whom you can trust, who can sign as witnesses, but who can also help you with keeping this will. Others keep their will in the bank, depending on how you have appreciated your relationships. This will you have written can be altered or revoked by the following. If it is destroyed, it will be regarded revoked. If you marry, I have willed property to you, you have married, you have remarried, you lose your right to what I have stated against your name. We have some people who were earning pension. Unfortunately, when the person dies, the family do not follow up. And you see this person, widow marries, or widow marries another person, yet there is a will of the woman giving property under the care of this man. That, if reported, invalidates also that provision. The will can be also revoked by codicial, an amendment. You can do an amendment to a will and it is regarded as a supplement and it is amended. Will can also be revoked by alteration by court. I have told you court can, on the petition of the family members, alter the will. Or beneficiaries can agree to vary the will. You gave me a property in Moyo and gave my brother a property in Ilera or in Kampala. We can agree with him and say, for me, I don't want to stay in Moyo. I want to stay in Kampala, and this one is ready to go to Moyo, so we can vary and say, for me, I take the other one, let him take this. All this is allowed. Benefit of making a will, I want to tell you, a lot of things get so, including where to bury you. Where to bury you, but I'm also telling you, don't make unnecessary conditions. There are people who even give will, put a will, say, bury money with me. These are things which are actually, they are not necessary where you are going. So all these are necessary conditions. You write things which are not implementable, they will not be implemented. But a will should facilitate dispute resolution. There are even people whose bodies cannot be buried because of disagreement. A will help solve all this, but also the people who have cared for you. There are people you have not disclosed now to your family members, but they have really supported you. Some of you have family members who are helping you. In your family, you are like a visitor, you are not accepted. People resort to other family outside. They have a child and a woman. They have not been able to disclose. It is the woman who must come and say, I'm so and so. This child, you see, the nose represents the father. You can avoid all that if you have put in place a will. Once you have this will, you only get a letter of probate, I told you. So what you do, you just petition court, praying for a letter of probate. You don't go to the Administrator General for a letter of no objection. Then the court will put an advert for 14 days. You pay the relevant fee. Once there is no objection from the public, this application is heard, you get your letter, you come to us and we give you a pension, you start managing the other property and so on. This is the beauty. You can see how easy you have simplified life for those who are going to remain alive. Now, if you die without a will, I have told you the state is in charge. The law has a formula on how your benefits will be distributed. And a few people will benefit. Not those other ones you wanted to include in your will. And the procedure also for getting a lot of administration is cumbersome. You must have a family meeting, and the LC must write a letter. You must have a death certificate. Of course, the other one also will require a death certificate. You will have to have the minutes. Then you have to go through the Administrator General, who must give you a letter of no objection. We have several families who have applied to the Administrator General. Administrator General, by law, is allowed to manage the estate of deceased person under the Administrator General's Act, which has just also been amended. Administrator can look at you, interview you, and in his opinion, you are not capable of managing the estate. So he chooses to give you no letter of no objection. Where Administrator General declines to give you a letter of no objection, it means Administrator General will instead now apply to court for a letter of administration, and they will now be the one to manage the estate on your behalf. That is the weakness you see with that provision. Then, but the way he has given you a letter, then you petition court, you provide a summary of evidence plus documents, you produce witnesses, and so on. And then the application is also heard. And if there is no objection from the public, you get a letter of administration. I have read a very short provision, but I want to tell you, 2 years, some people have been pursuing this document. And you will see also in my presentation the conditions now under the new law associated with the letter of administration. All those are the things you need to provide. Where a person has an objection, he puts a caveat, and the application will not be heard. Instead, they will hear the petition. And then when you're applying for letter of administration, I want you to bear in mind the limits of magistrate's court. Magistrate's court has a limit. So magistrate court has a limit up to 50 million. If you are the total asset under administration is more than 50, you need a high court to grant for you this letter. And now under the new law, this letter you are granting is valid for 2 to 3 years only, depending on the discretion of the presiding judge. It is valid for 2 years, or he can give you up to 3 years. The problem is people have mismanaged estate, so that at least every 2-3 years, every year you now bring accountability to show how you have managed the estate. The aim is to make sure you are managing it in trust as it is. Who can petition for letter of administration? All these people. A spouse, a child, a father, mother, brother, sister, the administrator general, any person who is 21 years or above, not 18. These ones can apply for letter of administration. Now, if you have no letters, this is the formula, friends, you can see. The people who are entitled are spouse, children, whom we call lineal descendants, customary heir, and dependent relatives. If you die and you leave behind a spouse, children, lineal descendant, because all the people listed, your spouse, who might be the only person who will take care of your children, will get only 20%. The children, the lineal descendants, will get 4%. The customary heir, that person who is a heir by law. Is it me? There are crossings which the administrator is removing. Let us see how he deals with it. Thank you, administrator. So the dependent relatives, for them, they say 75%. But you remember the dependent relatives have the other group. Your children are part of that. The widow is part of that, or widower. The other uncles, the other list, they are part of this. Provided they prove that they have been depending partially or wholly on you, they get 75%. Possibility, these people have never been interested in your life, but the law now allows them to benefit because of that blood relationship. Then you die, you leave behind only a spouse, and you have the dependent relatives. The spouse, this is the only opportunity where the spouse gets 99%. This is because you don't have children who are lineal descendants and customary heir. Then, if you leave behind a spouse, but you have a customary heir, and then you have dependent relatives, the spouse gets 50%. You don't have children, so there's 0. Customary heir 1%. Dependent relatives 49%. Then you have no spouse. You have children, lineal descendants. You have a customary heir, but no dependent relatives. I don't know whether there's anybody who has this category of people. The children will now get 99%, the lineal descendants. And the customary heir will get 1%. You leave behind nobody. If you leave nobody, I don't think there's a human being with that who falls in that category. your property will be distributed amongst the relatives nearest in kinship. They will look for relatives, they will show up, and then they will identify them, and they give them equal amount, all the things you have accumulated. All these, our colleagues have told you we can avoid because we just need to write a will, and then we are in charge. The footnote here is this law does not apply to Muslims. For them, they said the Quran guides them on how to distribute property of dead people. So this law on the formula, this formula does not apply to Muslims. It was disapplied. These are the negative implications of writing a will. You are going to read them and appreciate. Now, what are the other issues in the new law? 20% of the property of the intestate, the one who has no will, is kept in trust for education and welfare of minor children or lineal descendant of 25-year-old disabled lineal descendants who is not married. If you have a disabled person who is not married, if you have minor children who are dependents but up to age 25, the law now says when you add the total asset together, you convert them in money terms, you set aside 20% reserved for the education of these children who are still in school. Then the balance of 80% is made 100%, and then it is distributed using that formula. A spouse who remarries before the estate of the intestate shall be entitled to your share. This person, at the time of death, is still around, will get the share. It means this person can get the share and remarry, but by the time you acquire what the person has analyzed, it's a physical asset, this person can dispose of that property. A surviving spouse shall not take interest in the estate of the intestate if at the time of the intestate they were separated, except if the spouse was on study leave or the separation was occasioned by the dead person. This, however, may be disapplied by court in 6 months for reasonable cost. So you can see the pain here. That if you separated, like the separation I talked about, you may not be entitled, but a person can still petition court. And then they say the separation, you chase your partner away. This one will benefit from the estate. The mentally ill person now has been allowed under the new law to write a will, but in intervals. So the family must monitor the situation. If you are fairly okay, they run. And you write, when the thing starts, they will draw. When you are okay, you start from where you stopped. They can facilitate, it's in the law. I have told you about the residential holding, which is not included in a will for distribution. I have already talked about the making sure you have reasonable provision for your spouse and children. People who immediately depend on you, otherwise they will set aside your will. They will go to court. If no guardian is appointed in your will for minor, the father or mother of the deceased or brother or sister of the deceased or the brother or sister of the father, mother of the deceased shall be the statutory guardian. So there is also provision to guide against this other group who may come and want to be part of the estate. The law also says who can be allowed. So first, you can see the first case goes to the spouse. Then in that order, the father, mother, and all those. If you are the executor or an executrix or an administrator and you mismanage the estate, you are liable to prosecution. And once you are convicted, you can be jailed, you can also pay money. Now the property of both a man and a woman who died intestate are subject to distribution. And so in the past, the law was very silent about a woman's property being distributed to the male partner and so on. Now, in the other law, people used to go and garnish the account of Administrator General. They take Administrator General to court, and then the account is garnished. It means Administrator General cannot withdraw money or transact. The administrator has now got protection under the law. that account of the Administrator General cannot be garnished. The reason is he pleaded with Parliament and said, that is not my money, it is the money of dead people. When you garnish the account, children will not study. So he's allowed. The Administrator General under the new law, he also said he has been having challenges. A person dies, he has a lot of money, but the family has no money to bury. And he manage the immediate family needs, including welfare, including school fees. Now the law allows Administrator General, even without getting a letter of administration, to apply to go to the bank and use 50 up to 50, maximum 15 million to offset the family's need. I've talked about the validity of the law. Finally, colleagues, there is no problem with writing a will. You are not going to die. I want you to encourage you. If you are interested in your family, if you value what you have accumulated, please write a will and write today. We don't know when death is going to strike. It does strike, actually. The beauty is we don't know when, but we have the time. We are still alive. Let us organize our state. Thank you so much. I refer you back to the administrator. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, the facilitator of the two sessions. I now invite the participants to put our hands together. We thank our Commissioner. He has elaborately explained many of the issues that have been perturbing us, and I hope this will give us a way forward. I now invite the participants that we go to the question and answer session. We only have 45 minutes to go through this, and thereafter we shall have a photo moment and adjourn today's training. I now invite members to raise up your hands and put up a questions to be answered.
Hello, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
Mine is, to thank the Commissioner for very, very insightful presentations, but to just draw your attention to the many inquiries that have been coming through the chat. Perhaps you could ask the administrator, because in the chat room they were coming in time, in real time. There are so many questions in that. Thank you. But we thank the Commissioner.
Thank you, Asagame, for that. We shall run through the chats and get responses. Next question. What is the hand? I don't see people putting up their hands. I see Timbieta.
Because our questions are in the chat.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, Timbieta.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Commissioner. First of all, thank the presenter for a lengthy and elaborate presentation, which I think has been overdue. And probably this seize the time. My inquiry would be like, how possible is it to have these kind of trainings on a regular basis prepared by Ministry of Public Service? Two, I've learned the principle of 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, 8 hours of sleeping. This very big thing that has been missing out. On several occasions, local government have been conducting inductions, but when you look at the content that has been submitted, offered to the beneficiaries, seems to be shallow. And I would think some of these contents that you had can be included in the induction that is offered to newly recruited civil servants. Thirdly, there has been a gap in induction which I've observed, especially for secondary school teachers. They miss out on induction. So I wanted to know how best can they be helped to be part of the induction process in our public service system. Thank you, Chair.
Sarong Utimbeta for those 3 questions. Can we have like 2 more questions and then we get responses? Since there is no hand so far, I invite in the chat. We shall first go through the questions. I mean the hands, those raising the hands, and then we shall go to the chat room later. George?
Yes, good morning, Albert. Good morning, Commissioner Victor. And
introduce yourself and where you are coming from.
My name is Drati George Aliga, Principal Human Resource Officer, Obongi District Local Government. On behalf of others, I give great appreciation to PS and to all of you, Victor and Albert and the rest who are backing up the PS in this great training. This has been one of the marvelous and most outstanding presentations. My suggestion is this training should be done again for human resource officers who are based, especially for the ones in local governments, even for the other votes, because these ones are close to the rest of the employees. Some employees may not have access to the Zoom training, and in the routine supervision, they will be able to cascade this training down during technical planning committee meetings and when they go for supervisions, because there are a number of people who really need to retire, but others make emotional decisions and others are not prepared, and this training can open someone's mind up to reschedule accordingly. Then 2, I'm officially requesting let all presentations be shared. We have been giving our emails so that we do more reading and we can help other people around us. Then 3, around this time, all the accounting officers are away from station in Chankwazi. I really requested and expected them to be targeted, and the next training should actually be specifically organized for the accounting officers. The reason is now someone has worked in government for a number of years and he has intention to exit, and this training is part of the preparation. And the next part of the preparation is this person has identified what to do, for example, say poultry, and he may need to be skilled in that area. And humanly and administratively, assignments should be gradually scaled down from the hands of this person. This person should be also relinquishing some skills to the subordinates and those who will take over, and plus recruiting the new ones who will come in. And if the accounting officers can be taken through this, or responsible officers, even in other boards, so that they will be able to now support this person to exit. Otherwise, I am so grateful with the message which is appealing to the individual. For example, when Victor said, the problems are yours, you take personal responsibility in self-audit. This is so interesting. I appreciated this training and I gave it ample time, and it is going to give room. Actually, I want to take a leave for about 2 weeks and to do a lot of personal reflection about my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, George, and for that decision, we shall also look into your appeals and requests. Can we have the last Patrick, and then we get responses? Introduce yourself and where you're coming from.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Albert, the moderator, and thank you, Commissioner Victor, for that enriching presentation. My name is Patrick Munguleni. I am from the Inspectorate of Government, Moyo Regional Office. I work as a supervisor projects. I want to thank, first of all, the team from Public Service for this initiative. Like most participants have said, this has been long overdue and we need more of these trainings. I don't know how many of my colleagues in Inspectorate are participating, but I think everyone in Uganda, even those not in public service, need this kind of trainings. About the wheel, unfortunately, I missed part of it because of network challenges here. But I've also put a question on the chat. Maybe I can just repeat it for emphasis sake. But I have 2 questions on the wheel. There's a term Commissioner mentioned in the wheel of separation of partners. I just wanted some expansion on that. I don't know whether that means divorce. What is that separation exactly? Can the Commissioner help me understand that part of separation? 2, can the will be handwritten or it must be typed? Thank you very much.
Patrick, I now invite our commissioner, the facilitator, to give us responses. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. First of all, I want to thank all of you for the condolences messages. We are going to be strong. It's a painful loss. The young man is only 32 years old. But like I said, when I made a presentation on will writing, our life is really the way it is. And that's why I told you, don't take decision about your retirement life because of your comfort zone now, because all these things can change in a day or 2. We left behind a child who is less than 2 years. So life is really that way, but we move on. We promise we will organize regular, because our capacity to reach everywhere is limited, and we now want to leverage on technology. We don't have money to move all over, but we want to promise we'll have regular engagement. I already promised you, public officers, the next time we will organize one to talk to you about the changes in the pension law, so that you know, because soon you are going to be required to make a contribution to your retirement and all those things. But it's a good law. When we go through, you will see what we have done to protect these ones who are getting 5,000 and so on. So we'll promise we'll do that. There is also a request for TOT for our human resource managers, and in those who are doing training in various government institutions, including local governments, including teachers of secondary schools and so on. We will try to make this. If we cannot do it physically, we will organize virtual training, because we want this message everywhere. We will share the curriculum. We even develop the contents, which we shall give you, so that for each of these presentations, you have the material. Our aim is to reach the population as much as possible, but these materials need regular updates because things are changing. Those business opportunities are changing, so we will really make sure this thing is said as a wider framework. When we engage the UPDF leadership, they were very happy. At first, they were hesitant. Now we are partners with the UPDF. Right from their training of new recruits, this is part of the curriculum. Police, this is part of the curriculum. we are here to penetrate prisons, but when they are training officers, they invite us and we prepare these young people when they are joining service. We also want this included in the induction program. The slides will be shared. I want to encourage my team, moderator, please make sure those participants who have given your email, their email contacts. Fortunately, we are recording, so all these email contacts are recorded. I want you to go through the video recording, pick this email contact, let us share with our participants all these slides. Somebody said he's very happy, he has made a resolve, and also the issue of idle money, generating money. That is the essence, colleagues. Don't allow cash to remain with you for 1 month. But you can leave for some small cash for emergency, but as much as possible, cash can get cash. But some cash can be invested in near cash enterprises, and you're able to monitor well. It doesn't require you in most of the time. So let's do that. I picked some of these comments from the chat, and so that's why there are quite many, and I'm responding to the 8-8-8-hour principle. Very good, thank you. If you have made a resolve, I'm happy, because really you cannot spend the whole of your life, which God has given you, moreover a short life on earth, spent in sleeping or idling and so on. Really, or visiting people left, right, center. There must be a purpose every day when you wake up. And once you start committing your time, you can do it by even studying more books. That is how you build expertise, which you can sell for money. But the moment you spend more time doing something for yourself, I want to advise you have an advantage. So let's, as much as possible, do that. Somebody said he has a little salary, how can he save? I said that at the beginning, that here we are with retirement planning, we are simply telling you to prepare, because the little salary is not going to be there next time. So we are telling you that it is a little, yes, but there is a life to live when there is no little salary. But I want to tell you, I will give information to you about people who sell tomatoes here in our local market. These people are in their savings group putting aside the money. I even told you, why don't you put 1,000 per day? Everything is possible. It's just about making a resolve. The moment you are on lamentation, then you get into the other group we are talking about. Time will come when you will really join home, and it will be very terrible. So regardless of your income, regardless of your circumstance, I have also told you to focus now more on what can you do with little money. Don't enter into things that can commit more money. That is what you should do. If you saw the house I was staying in up to the time when I was a principal human resource officer, you are not going to believe. There are people who sleep in the sitting room because that was my capacity. I cannot say I work in the Ministry of Public Service. My public service job has nothing to do with whether I'm capable. So these are issues I want you to analyze in your life. It is a choice issue. Then the issue of can I will be handwriting? Yes, it is even much better. I have told you, don't need a lawyer. You can do handwriting. You can type whatever you choose. You can do it. And the format, since we are going to say this, you will follow. It is just a simple guide. We picked from the handbook, and it will help you. Then the issue of separation. When I was defining separation, of course, when we said the slide, you will also read. I said separation of 6 months. This separation can be through mutual consent. You agree to stay apart because your life is in danger. And once that is a period, you are not together, and mutually both of you agree, then that is regarded as separation. So you have not gone to court to separate, but the law recognizes that. Because we have seen situations where people agree like that to separate, and when the other one party dies, the other one wants to come back, yet there is a mutual agreement. The other aspect of separation we talked about is, so the other one is consent, and you have gone to court. The other one is mutually. Before a witness, you agree, you say it is dangerous. You choose to say, and I've seen many families, they beat each other every day and say, no. People gather and say, no, we don't want a death here. So they mutually agree to separate. At such a period, death is regarded as separation. We are ever saying separation which conditions you to will a property is if you chase the partner away. That is not a separation. You must make sure when you die, that property is shared, and even in your will, such a person should be included. That is what we meant by separation. Otherwise, the rest, we are saying we need papers, we need a presentation shared. How many administrator generals do we have in Uganda? We have one administrator general appointed by the Administrator Generals Act. They sit here at Amamo House. The rest are called estate administrators. They are not called administrator generals. They are called estate administrators. They are appointed by court and given that instrument, which is valid for 3 to 2 years, to administer an estate in trust. Even the administrator general does it in trust. He is not the owner. If he misuses the money, he is also subject to the law. So for him, he cannot benefit from any coin of the deceased people's money, which is in his custody. So that is it. I have seen the comment from the regional office, Moyo, IG. We are happy. I think I will also talk to your HR manager in the headquarters to see we are ready, especially these opportunities in central ministries or nearby local governments. We are available. We will come and give you some support. Yes.
Commissioner, there is this question. The law of succession is not applicable to Muslims, as stated. How will one handle a scenario where one partner is a Muslim? Does that mean as a Muslim partner, he or she will not receive property, especially when his or her late was a Christian?
That was not specifically stated in the law, but I think that is a matter I will note. I will also follow that with the Attorney General's office, my colleagues there. At the time of drafting this law, I don't know whether that was part of what was discussed at the Hansard. We shall look at that, but it's not explicit. But the assumption is that the marriage took place in a particular environment within a particular religious context. And I think that is what might be used. But I am not very sure. I don't want to bite my tongue. We will follow that up and then be able to see. Is there any other matter? Otherwise, I think I will simply thank you. Yesterday we got 500. Today we have 350 plus. I know some of you are in groups. We want to encourage you. Each time we invite you, please share with us. We have other contents which we want to share. We also want to educate people about their rights, especially how pension is calculated. We have pensioners who retire. They complain that they are cheated. They get a gratuity and then somebody tells you, this is not all your money. We paid it 20 in error, you bring it back. We want to make sure everybody knows how to calculate and so that nobody is cheated. We also working towards automation of the business process for calculating pension. We want to remove people who are going to calculate your pension because we realize the moment you involve middlemen, they cheat. Because of the hardships, everybody is looking at how do I get from the other party. We want to make sure we protect you. So colleagues, I want to stop here and I pass you over to the administrator of the event.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Let's, participants, let's put our hands together and thank our Commissioner. And I now invite you to a photo moment for 5 minutes. Please switch on your video. You see that icon video, click it on, and we have a photo moment. Aaron, do you see people logging in their videos?
Yes, Commissioner, I need 5 minutes to do so.
Please switch on your video.
Yes, Okara Sol from Koboko.
Thank you, Okara from Koboko.
Thank you.
Frank Mbazira, Parliament of Uganda.
Thank you, Mr. Mbazira.
This is Irene Akide.
Akide Irene.
From Gulu DLG.
Guru DLG. How is Guru?
Gulu is fine.
Good.
Thank you.
From Omoro District.
Omoro District. Thank you.
Good morning, Daniel Olinga from Eva Regional Office in Gulu.
Thank you.
Mbalo District Government.
Okay, thank you.
Patrick.
Yes, Patrick. Hey, you speak a national language. I see that one speaking Nyangore. Thank you.
I really missed a lot of.
We shall share the presentations.
These are people on online. You know, Albert, what
is the challenge? Thank you. Thank you, Biondo.
Hello, Raymond
from Halungu
District. Thank you.
Hello, Nakabgo Annette from Iganga District.
Iganga District. Thank you.
Dennis.
Hello, Raymond Office of the President.
Thank you, Opi.
Ratito Telega from Obongi District.
Obongi, thank you so much.
Our Minister of Works and Transport.
Oh, Minister of Works, thank you. Yes, Rosemary, thank you.
Hello. This is Nifa from
Butarika Hospital.
Yes.
Thank you. My UK, thank you.
Hello, I'm Jennifer from Gulu City.
Hey, Mubu, thank you, Jennifer.
Lydia from Gulu.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you.
The Zoom meeting.
Local government.
Let me first leave.
Thank you.
But I already handled.
We are about to finish, members.
I already handled.
Kaiser Janet from retirement have Saturday pension. I'm retired. At the moment, everybody has gotten pension.
Retired. Thank you. Retired.
We have all not gotten.
Thank you.
It is not from others. You know why you didn't get? The other time I explained when you
Hello,
go
that one having a feedback. Just put your video and take a photo and finish.
Jennifer Gulu City.
In a
Jennifer
way,
Gulu City.
I
Thank
don't
you
know why
so
they
much.
didn't get pension. So it was dependent on the client. When you claim, you go and check why.
That one explaining gratuity and pension. Anyway, that means that the information has been taken seriously.
That is how it was. It was demanded. We also didn't have the time to follow up to see whether somebody got after getting gratuity, you're not getting pension. So most of them have access. This one I don't know now that we have issues of HTM.
Office of the President, thank you.
So let's wait for pension.
Jackie from Kayunga.
Otherwise, he would have gotten February. It was amended on the February payroll.
So now that it has it, let's wait for March. But still, it can be noted.
We have seen
But
the
everybody hasn't got
request
pension
for
and
professional
so
associations. We shall also look into it. Aaron, are you done with the photo moment? There was a group of teachers in the staff room. Are they available? Can we have that photo? Yes.
You come. These 2 months have been hard for them.
There was a group of teachers in the staff room.
Because last month, those who missed pay, they started getting on Friday for February. So for March, I know there is half of the salary and also bonus. They have been, we are trying to see that we put everything right, but it's not easy with our colleagues.
Wilson, can you put on your video?
The other side. They keep promising, since Monday they were
Wilson and
promising,
group.
yeah, this week you're going to be saving. So they sent a second batch from other districts. Iganga is not there.
Thank you so much. Thank you for attending and wish you
Cannot be
all the
easy on
best. Have a nice day. We are adjourned. Later,
What
bye.
happens at districts is irrelevant. They think you just sit there.
Thank you
They
for
think
the
you're not doing
presentation.
anything for them. And the problem we have now, the those officers never worked with the local government. Initially, the two who were there had worked with local government. So for them, they understood the pressure we go through. Now the ones who are there are young boys like this. They have never worked in local government. They don't know what happens here. When you explain, they don't understand. They just keep hiding in the offices.